Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Hunter's Gathering. We hope that you enjoyed your week off, and hope that you got a really nice recharge and spent some time offline. But I'm really glad that you're back online with us. I'm your host, Markia McCarty, producer and host here at Hunter's Entertainment. And Hunter's Gathering is basically your one-stop shop for a behind-the-scenes look with games, game designers, art directors, music designers, and of course GMs and also the players that we love to interact with. And we will be speaking with some players for the show today. We've got a lot of really fun stuff involved, including like a deep dive into Altered Carbon, specifically the Osaka Eternal campaign that we did here at Hunters Entertainment. We have Hunters Presents us on Tuesdays with running campaigns. So with Osaka Eternal, usually you see Bay City when it comes to Altered Carbon, whether you know from the books or whether you know from the actual Netflix series. So we have the supplemental of Osaka Eternal, which is not out just yet. There's still a bunch of things there, but we will get into that with our players in just a moment. So, and hi everyone in the chat room. Excellent. Oh, it's so good to see all of you. No, we've got. I love how many repeat people we have. All right, so for news, just want to let you know, of course, at top of show that we do a rotating merch on our website. If you go to huntersentertainment.com/merch. Every week, you're going to see some fresh merch from us. For this week, we have Alice's Missing Premium shirts, and it's pretty gorgeous. It's like this salmon sky with a figure standing in the foreground, looking out on the town of Silent Falls. It's 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 aching. That's basically what the t-shirt is. It's really really good. And so you only have like 3 days left to be able to grab one of those. Heartily recommend for you do. Yeah, and then that product will rotate out for new designs next week. So along with that, obviously October is right around the corner. But then what is time, right? What is time? Yeah, so upcoming we have for Entertainment will be at Renegade Con. The dates of that are October 9th through the 11th. And if you're thinking like, oh wait, that's a Friday, just like Hunter's Gathering. Yes, so we will be incorporating our Hunter's Gathering show into October 9th when we are doing Renegade Con. So there will be an assortment of different game demos. And I wonder if you're asking right now, might there be a Ragnarok playthrough? Yes, yes. I think we could strongly rely on that, but I'm not going to say that officially right this second. I could give you that officially next week, or you can sign up for our newsletter. Also, we have a Discord. We have a very lovely, thriving community full of awesome people and awesome mods. And just like big shout out to our chat room right now. And it's like, yeah, more RenCon. Yes, absolutely. And yeah, so there will be a special edition of Hunters Gathering Live during the con, and I'll be able to give you some more information about that next week when you join us. So, along with that, we will be doing Roll 20 Con in October, and that is October 23rd through the 25th. And yes, once again, we will roll Hunters Gathering into that Friday show. Yes, another assortment of game demos for that, but we will definitely have some live play streams for you. We will be doing Outbreak, and we will also be doing Alice's Missing. More details as that comes about, but that's a pretty hard hitting weekend to be able to have. So it's something really nice to soften you up before you howl under the blue moon the following weekend for Halloween. So, yeah. Oh, and then, of course, always to just remind you all that it is still September because time is still a thing. And with September, if you subscribe to us or anyone, it's for your first month, it's for subscribing for 1 month is 20% off. 3 months is 25%, 6 months is 30% off. And I had a really good tip from our tech wizard, JB, who says that it's best if you do that from a laptop or desktop to be able to get that deal. So, might as well just go ahead and do it that way if you're able to with your laptop. So yeah, see with our chat room. Yeah, in our chat room, I love it when y'all do emojis. I love these emojis. It's like I love our yes, and then like the campfire. Y'all are excellent. Oh, and Alex, our community guy, is in the chat room too. Love it. Okay, so for today's show, we are going to be hard hitting, but yet organic. It's like easy breezy, but also we're gonna, be out to just go for the kill. I have two really awesome players from our community that have also played with us. I have Luis Carrazzo, who was Patch in our Osaka Eternal Altered Carbon campaign. Hello, Luis.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
And I also have Gabe Hicks, who was also Patch during our Altered Carbon campaign, but then became Sato because got his own type of identity after he was re-sleeved into another avatar. Hello, Gabe.
Hello, I am happy and excited to be here.
Yeah, I am so excited that we were able to do this. Like this just worked out. Well, for this show, obviously, for Hunter's Gathering, but also for Altered Carbon, which the system is built for you to be able to travel, like to be resleeved, to be needle cast into faraway places, into different bodies, copies of you, and then the whole thing of like waking up into another, you feel like you're still you, but you're not you, and the both of you got to give that to us.
Yes, Gabe in a very special way from what I've been gathering. Um, yeah, cool. I just want to sit here and like hear Gabe talk about
Oh,
what
is
happened to
you,
us.
you gave me a great setup and a character to work with, and I was here for it. You made it very easy to jump into it.
Well, cool. Now I want to know what happened. I mean, I know some, but I don't know everything.
Well, we're gonna go on that journey together. I'm so happy about this. So yeah, for anybody who's like, oh wait, there's Altered Carbon campaign and Osaka Eternal. Yes. So with what I already explained at the top, we are going to be going into the actual Hunters Presents campaign of Osaka Eternal. So that which was a three-parter. Our GM was Xander Genre, who you know from the internet, from basically everything. I was also a character within this campaign. I played Satya, who I like to describe her as Banksy meets Rufio. Just basically a chaos demon is what Satya was, and I had a super fun time enjoying everything with her. And then of course we had our usual Hunters Presents awesome people. Like I said, we have Luis Carrazzo doing Patch. We also had Michelle Wynn Bradley doing Benton. And yes, there was something going on with their left arm. Those that know from Outbreak know that there is probably always going to be something going on with the left arm with characters that Michelle plays. And then also we had Maylee Damage, who was playing Sable, who I really enjoyed Sable as a character because when things happen, when you're dealing with the mind, when you're downloading people into different sleeves, some things go wrong. Glitches happen. Some glitches are meant to happen, and other glitches are put upon people by other people. It's We'll get into all of that. Exactly. So, like I said, it was a three-parter campaign. So, how about just overall feelings with being a part of this journey and with your character, just overall impressions? Luis, if you wanted to start with
Oh
that.
man, I mean, I'll try to keep it concise because I could probably
No, no,
go
no,
on and
no, no.
on about this.
This is an organic thing. We're gonna be like chatting with the chat room with this also. Also, chat room, you have questions or if there are things that you want to explore, please go ahead and do this with us. And we'll also be like seeing some art with things like in
Sweet.
the background too. Yeah.
Um, well, I mean, okay, so for me personally, in terms of like the exploration that this allowed for, um, this kind of setting I've always been fascinated with. This sort of like what altered carbon. I think what it gives, what at least it gives me in my imagination, is like just endless like possibilities in terms of what the future can be like and what this technology can be like. But then like, just all of there's certain, I think, certain human things that get put under a particular kind of microscope when you have the possibilities that you have in this kind of a world, like with resleeving and stuff like that. um, so I was interested in essentially creating exploring a character that was trying to put pieces together, because I just kind of saw the world in pixels in a way. Like, as when I was imagining the world, it was almost as if it was very pixely for me. So I kind of wanted to explore somebody that was um, became like bonded to him with another person, and became really obsessed is the only word that I can think of, but just became kind of integrated with Yukio specifically,
Mhm.
and bonded in such an intense way because it was a way to try to take the fragments and put them together.
Yeah,
And
Yukio being the rogue AI that our team, our ragtag team of people were sent after each of us having our own reasons why to try to recover this AI Yukio and the knowledge that they held.
I also like setting up characters for like intense loss and pain. But for potentially. So I like to have I like to think of something that the character, like what drives, what runs a character, what could be like the ultimate loss, the ultimate, because like if you understand what the ultimate loss can be, then you can start to understand what the ultimate desire might be like. So um I mean, I don't know how specific I can go, because what was also heartbreaking was to have to step away too. But I loved being able to pass it down to Gabe and to see how, like, because it gave us a perfect opportunity to explore an actual resleeving and to see how that then changes in a completely different sleeve. Um, so I mean, I don't know if there's any specific questions or anything from
Yeah,
along that.
well, just for a last one, can you describe the patch that you know physically, for instance?
Yeah, so Patch, um, uh, Patch, my Patch was just like a average height, average dude. I think I'm trying to remember the way I described him, and I don't know if I actually got into a detailed description of him in the session itself.
Mhm.
Um, but I I guess when I think of a character, I think more in terms of internal characteristics. And what I do know about the patch that I was, that came to mind for me was a kind of tunnel vision, um, a kind of very, very limited, narrow focus, that revolved around fixing things, which is why I came up with the name patch, um, to he wanted to, just patch things up, and that meant patching up what he believed to be the errors in his family history, what he believed to be, the AIs at the Kabuki theater that he was charged. He was like their steward, their caretaker, um, and also, like in terms of technology, patching into things like, creating like a bridge between one technological kind of void area to another so that they can communicate towards each other. And what came along with that was kind of, I think, a somewhat, for me, something that felt a little neurotic at times and a little obsessed is the word I keep going to. Um, but I would say like Patch is someone who would never, the Patch that I had, um, someone that didn't care, like probably walked around with his hair like crazy and probably didn't shower very often and probably didn't care about like, the external at all, and probably looked pretty disheveled. Um, and I imagined him with glasses. I don't know why. I was just like, he's got glasses.
Uh,
Um,
I love this. Thank you so much. I'm very much enjoying this like internal and external description of like Patch and like origin of Patch, type of a deal also. Gabe, can
Yeah.
you please give us some overall like insight? Just it can be overall with the campaign, and then also please let us also know your approach with internal and external. Please describe the
Yeah.
external with
Um,
Patch too.
so I was already a big Altered Carbon fan. Like I had been following the series since day one. So when it was mentioned like, hey, we're doing an Altered Carbon came in, he was just like, yes. I was like, just tell me when and where to be. Whatever, I'm there. Um, and then I got like the character prompt and like learning about Patch and being more of the engineer and the fixer. And I'm like, in this technological world, that's a huge deal. um and then as I saw like Patch's drive and connection for like with Yukio, I was like, okay, this is an interesting thing because then it's not about the physical, it's about the emotional connection. And I actually agree with Louise. Like I'd never thought of Patch as someone who was like fancy and looking their best. He had problems and then he had ways that he tried to solve them, because that's what someone who's an engineer, that's what someone who fixes things does. They look for new ways to solve problems, and they have to look from it. They have to look at it from not just one perspective. Like if something happens to this person, okay, how do I avoid that happening to me, and then also fix that. um and like there was the wings on the back, and that was like probably the only aesthetic thing that Patch cared about. Otherwise, it didn't matter what he was wearing, didn't matter if my clothes got ripped. And getting to see that character interact with the others, especially in like a re-sleeving when I didn't have the memory, because I did see some of the previous campaign, but I didn't watch all of it because I was like, well, if I don't have the memories, this is the perfect opportunity for Gabe to not have all of the information.
I already want to ask a question.
Oh, yes.
I'm dying to know your relationship to those wings because I had them as well.
Yeah.
Um, what were they? What did they represent for you?
At first, they were a symbol to the family. And there was like a 3-step phase. It was like a first a symbol of the family, then the second was a weight, because they're a weight on his back, but also a weight symbolizing who he is rather than who he's becoming. And then the third was almost like they're there no matter what I do, so I don't have to lie about it or hide it.
Wow, I love it. Like, because you're even your 3-step evolution of it is an evolution from where I was with them.
Yes.
Because there's a moment in the episode where like Xander had asked like, what are you, like he kind of implied like, are my wings visible when I was alone in my room? And I never actually got to describe them because Patch was ashamed of it. My Patch would wrap them up
Mm-hmm.
to hide them,
Yep.
even from himself. And like, and it fits like it's a perfect like, I mean, this is what I think is so fascinating about this world is like what happens to something like this thing that you are so ashamed of that you hide, you go out of your way to hide it even from yourself,
Yeah.
but then you get re-sleeved and then so much is lost in the ether, and then you have a completely different opportunity to meet this thing, and then it becomes something different and new. And like it's so crazy because I became super attached to this character, and
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh, I just got one shit. And
Yeah.
then like hearing you just describe that one thing is so like awesome for me. It's like,
well, it's nice because it's like that idea that even when this character was re-sleeved and some of their memory got shifted, the wings feeling did not change. Like of everything that changed, that didn't.
ooh, that's, I mean, I love it. Like this is super cool. I'm so glad this is happening.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad that we're doing this. For those in our chat, this is the first time that Patch and Sato, because that's what Patch ended up calling. Uh, uh, is it himself or themselves?
For me was himself, but
Yeah.
that could be.
I think it
Themselves.
yeah, themselves fits because
Yeah.
there's not just one Patch anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it this is the first time that they're actually getting to meet and interact together like right now. So we're gonna be going through like a lot of really fun organic moments like this. And I'm all about this. This is why I push so hard to be like, we're doing this. This show's happening. Yes. Okay. So let's start at the top with it, and then let's just like let's go through the campaign. Yeah, linear is awesome, but time doesn't exist this year. So if there's things that remind you of other things, jump in and do it. And Luis, we want to know more about Patch backstory. So you gotta give us some canon moments as we go on. Gabe, you got
Louise, I have a question for you.
Okay.
For your Patch, who was the character that got in your way the most?
Wow.
Like of the players.
Of the players, like we, I don't know if any of them stood out in that way to, because we just kind of got together. And
Yeah.
here's what's so sort of weird. Like in my mind, they all kind of were like blobs and very similar to each other because I didn't experience them in any defined way yet.
Oh, you
So
lucky soul.
there's, yeah, I didn't experience them in any completely defined way yet. But if it was anything, I would say, like, I would say my Patch's greatest enemy was Patch, because I walked into my downfall.
good answer.
I see Markia. I
Good
see
answer.
Markia. All I'll say is Patch left a very interesting imprint on Satya
I
when he
wondered.
was sleeved. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I wanna
She
hear all
was
about it.
she was so nice.
Hey, okay, there's more to this.
Yeah.
One of the things that Xander did it, and for those that are interested in like Xander, our GM's process when it comes to jamming in general, but also for like Altered Carbon, we have a video with that, a VOD called jamming Altered Carbon do's and don'ts. And he goes deep down into like different things that he's done, particularly with this campaign, or that he does in general, like tips and tricks and everything like that. And one of the things that he does is that he gives us rumor sheets. And this is another GM tipped him off to doing this, and so each of us would get rumor sheets of like things like these are true. So interpret them in your own way with with those. So as soon as we had a re-sleeved Patch coming in, who I had up to that point had decided that Satya has gets unnaturally not unnaturally, but very quickly attached to people, like that she thinks have, that they're decent in a way that will serve her, that then she just like gets attached to them and be like, oh, these are my friends now, these are my friends. So one of the things on my rumor sheet was that Patch was not who he said he was, that not everything came back and other things were put there in their place. So then it was kind of like when Patch came back, it's like, is this my friend? Is this someone else? Why aren't they talking about this thing that we had been talking about before? So it's like, then that kind of rolled into other things. So then when Sato would would do or say something that was very sus. And I see that face, Gabe. I see that face when it's very sus, like, who are they actually working for? Type of a thing. What's that code that's running, behind their eyes? Then, yes, Satya got a little froggy towards Patch. And one of the things was she kept on not giving him his visor back. But she was going to do that. I mean, she even emblazoned their names on the sides of it.
And you kept making sure the side that was showing was the one that you wrote Satya on.
That is
Wow.
true.
That's
That is
so
a fact.
so that's so that's kind of fun to hear because I didn't know that at all. And it was, I think, like for me at the end, like partway through the session towards the end, I think like there was like an expanding from, like, I would say my Patch's narrow vision to like seeing these people that are like here that are like helping me. I do remember there was one particular conversation when I was admitting the importance of Yukio, kind of, and then every single person there was like, it's cool, you like kind of have a thing for this AI or something like that. And it's funny that there's moments that can like flash forward a relationship in a sense, like depending on how real it gets in that moment, and then to see it turn into this other thing is super fun.
Yeah. Well, I will just say Satya's suspicions were true though. So
But not about me.
no,
I mean,
well, that more of like a pawn like type of a sense, type of a thing, where it's just like, yeah, she knew something was up and she didn't know how to deal with that, but she still wanted her friend back. Was basically,
Yeah.
yeah, was basically what was going with it. But let's go with we have a clip that
oh yes.
we'll be playing. It's from like I said, it's a 3-part series. It's a 3-parter campaign. And for this first clip, just to give you a little bit of background story on it, um, we're on we're on the way to try to get back Yukio. We're trying to get information about their location, and everything. We've all met up at the Kabuki Theater because of one thing or another. Each of us has been nabbed by the authorities. This is when we had Patch was Patch and Patch wasn't Sato just yet. And all of us were spun up into virtual prison. So this is a VR sequence that happens between the characters at that time. So let's go ahead and roll this short clip, and we will see you on the other side of it.
We have our intrepid group of heroes? Question mark. All apprehended at the moment. So, this is something that is happening to all of you. You don't remember falling asleep, but all 4 of you wake up. And as you look down and around, it seems like you remember something about handcuffs or some sort of detention methods, but not here. Here you look down and you see how you remember when you left. You're in this blank room that sort of has a tatami floor, so it's this woven sort of fibers of this dry grass into mats that sort of lay out in a, let's say, like 5x5 square. And the room itself is paper door or paper wall sort of enclosed. It's elaborately gold paper with red accents. And you can see that there's sort of this soft golden glow that's emanating from the room itself. As you wake up, each of you look down and you're seated on what look like large pillows on the mats, and you each have one individually. And you're all facing the wall, but as you wake up and look around, you can see each other.
Well, at least they put me in the attractive people's room.
Oh my god, thank you. That's so nice of you. Hi.
How did we get here? I don't remember who are you?
All I can tell you guys is this place is real fancy and I'm happy to be here. I don't know who the hell any of you are. Well, except you. Are you? I think you're the person I was looking for.
Who?
You,
Me?
Patch? Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. I'm Patch. Are you? Which one of you was?
Oh wait, you're Patch?
Yes.
Okay.
So okay. We can get through introductions. Were all of you sent by the Fox? Is that why we're in this room? I was told that someone was coming to help me.
Yeah, you hear Satya snort when you say the fox. Like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
wrong animal, but
I
you're a Patch. You at the Kabuki Theater. And then Satya takes a pause and goes, "Nice."
was sent by the Fox. Although that was quite a bit of manpower up there at the front. Keeping me away from you. Is that how we got here?
I don't know how we got here. I just know that I was there was a car. I think you were in it. At least I assume that you were. Whoever Fox was sending to me was being apprehended in a car, and so I try to hack into. Actually, I want to check to see
Oh,
if I can. Can I tell if we're being surveillance? So I kind of like stop myself in the middle of what I'm talking about and kind of put my hands up. Hold on.
Yeah.
yes, and that's just like a little snippet from like the first part. It's like, yeah, that's where they really got to know each other, each of them,
Mm-hmm.
Sable, Satya, Patch, and Benton.
Yep.
Um, in virtual prison.
Yes, I think I think one kind of hook that Xander threw that helped because I feel like I could have created a character that was so tunnel vision that it's hard to like then incorporate a need to engage other people. But there was like one gem that he threw out there, which was that I knew that Yukio knew Fox, and I knew that Fox, or I believe that Fox was sending someone, but I didn't. And I knew it was one of you or all of you, and which one? Never mind. There's no time for this. Let's get the hell out of here. Kind of a thing. So it gave me an immediate kind of in or connection, like with the group or an individual, but there's no time to kind of figure that out, a kind of a thing. So, um, yeah, that was one thing that clip reminded me of.
Yeah, so knowing some of those origins, Gabe, like knowing with this virtual prison scene and how people interact, with Patch, you think everybody was still out to get them? I withdraw my question. Because now this is a courtroom.
Oh wow. I have a follow-up question to that. Was there anyone that was particularly on our side?
I don't think so. And I was thinking about that the whole time because I'm like, cool, there's all these different factions. And I'm like, that one's not good. That one's not good. Satya's making weird choices and people are dying, but she's still going. That's not good.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, that's sad now that I think about it. Huh.
Well, we were ragtag bunch of misfits brought together for Satya was that she was basically doing it for a bounty. She was trying to get into the seppuku tigers. Like she was, trying to yeah, some of her backstory is that she was older when it comes to like I guess human years than other members in the party. Like she was 84, but she had spent the majority of her life being closeted in by her family, being raised a certain way. You're going to do this for the family until then you stay in your corner, type of a deal. And then she finally was able to break loose, free herself, become Satya, and then she just like went, wild out and just was trying to go full criminal. And then that's where we find her with like this particular group of people where she's like, well, I've got to make a name for myself, type of a deal. It's like, I gotta join top gangs. That's what I gotta do. So yeah. She was, she was a little bit everywhere, and part of a sense, Gabe. It's like I kind of want you to play with us again when I have more normal characters, but then also I don't love
Yeah.
that. I love that you got Chaos Demon.
Well, okay. So the thing is, you say when you have more normal characters, but I've talked to you on and off stream, so I don't know what your normal characters are.
Oh, damn.
Oh man,
Because
I do
like,
normal characters.
what? The
I do
farmer who's secretly a demon? Thank you.
Our tech wizard JB just said, "I've never had a normal character." I have normal. I do. Don't I?
What does normal mean to your standards?
Normal. Okay, normal character. A normal character I've had. I was all right. This sounds not normal, but it's normal. I was a cartoon cat. I was the middle cat of the three kittens. You know, the three kittens who lost their mittens. I was a middle cat, and I was trying to make it into like, back into the big light. Back to it was a Who Framed Roger Rabbit RPG that I did with Tempting Fate, and I
This is your normal character?
that was a normal character because it was a cat and it was a normal cat for cartoon cats.
No further questions.
Moving forward, yeah, but with that first our first campaign, I mean, I know it took me completely by surprise for us to do the fight in the Kabuki theater where it seems like we have the upper hand, and then at the end, like in the closing moments of our episode, Patch, played by Luis, then gets their head decapitated, kind of like with this, and that was the end of the episode. So and actually this ties in very, very well with an excellent question we have from chat. And chat, oh my god, love y'all. And now I'm talking cat talk. Rat with Wings, you had a really great question. How far in advance did you know the resleeve would happen, Luis, and how did that affect how you approached session one?
I knew in advance that it was going to happen, and Xander and I talked about it. So we knew it was going to happen. We didn't know how it was going to happen, but we were the only ones that knew, as far as I know. I don't think anybody else at the table knew, and I was told to make sure to keep it that way. And I think that, I mean, in a way, it had to have affected my process. It had to have. I knew, yes, and JB definitely knew. I knew that I wanted to. I feel like it did one thing for me. It made me want to get enough out on the table in terms of what Patch was about and what drives him, so that people could get a sense of like enough of what he was about, and to at least hopefully justify how he could make this the mistake of, because in the moment what happened is there was there was the area where I would maintain Yukio, and there was like a device. I probably described it differently in the actual session, but there was like a device that was very personal to Patch, which is where he basically recorded, because for some reason he was driven to record the conversations and experiences and essentially memories that he had with Yukio. And so he knew it was still there and he was going for that. And that's what led to him basically walking into the jaws of death. Because his own obsession became kind of his own kind of demise, I suppose. And so I didn't know how it was going to happen. I didn't know at all how it would. I didn't even think actually at that point, because we're getting so close to it, that I didn't think it was going to happen anymore. So I just kind of went with what I felt like Patch would do, and so it still was somewhat of a surprise, because there was a point where I was like, oh, I guess it's not happening, and then it did.
Oh, yeah, it blindsided me. So it was just like after basically going through the campaign about Break Undead, where it's just like, will we die this episode? Who's going to die this episode? You know, that kind of a thing. And then it just have that whoop, like happen right at the end of the first episode. It's just like, I'm glad I didn't know. Really glad I didn't. But yeah, continuing forward with that, I kind of want to know, Gabe, how far in advance did you know that you'd be taking over for this character, Patch, and making them your own?
Uh,
Uh,
how? Let's see.
He's got the actual note.
I know. He's like, I've got the email. Let me just put Xander's name in here.
I think a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a week.
That's good. That's a good amount of time to be able to be able like to feel out the character, and also to know, like you were saying before, how much do you want to know?
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. And then how much is going to be completely Gabe's own, going into like Sato moving forward. So yeah, continuing forward with the campaign. And Luis, since you are the definitive authority on Patch's past, like basically whatever you tell us is canon with
All
what
right.
happened with him in the past, please feel free to chime in like during for when we're talking about the rest of the campaign. Like continuing on with the second, the middle part of our three-parter journey, a number of different things happen to our ragtag band of misfits that have come together. They find out about the ghost virus, which with that, it's literally pushing out someone's consciousness in a viral form, like a Trojan horse, or that kind of viral form, pushing their consciousness into the back seat and having a not complete consciousness imprint on top of them, thereby in a sense erasing them but not deleting. It's more like putting something in trash that can be retrieved later, but you have to go through all of these steps to try to get it back, type of a deal. And if you wait too long, then it's just going to disappear. So that ghost virus happens to a number of people in our crew. Sable gets hit with like a brunt of it, and gets pretty much put out for the count. Satya is able to kind of stem that a little bit to help get Sable back on their feet, but all in all, it's a pretty harrowing experience. And then also, this is when we meet re-sleeved Patch, not yet Sato. So kind of like that in between of Patch and Sato. Gabe, can you tell us some about before coming into the own of being Sato?
So in the beginning, the sleeve was described as like a more enhanced sleeve, almost like this. It was stronger. It was built more. It still had the same wings, but they were underneath like a jacket sort of thing that was fit, like so it would hide them underneath. And my first thought was like, well, Gabe would want to just cause trouble with this, but Patch is probably trying to get like reoriented with the world around him. And it's like, okay, you know what, the things that I remember are the people that I was with. And then just I had him like essentially navigating through the world, getting accustomed to his new vehicle, his new sleeve, and then meeting up with the others. And at that point, I think both Gabe and Sato weren't positive about who the personalities of these people were. So it was like testing the waters. It's like the thing we talked about with machines and fixing a problem. There's a bunch of different ways to approach the problem, but Patch had to see what these people were like and how they would react to him now without being able to remember everything. And so it was interesting because if anyone had said something that wasn't true, Patch wouldn't necessarily remember. So it was like gauging to see like who who he could actually trust. Is someone here the reason why he had to be resleeved? And if they were, how will I know?
Wow.
Yeah. I love that there's all that discovery that was going on,
Yeah.
like that had to happen for that, because it's, oh man, because when I think of resleeving, like, in the imagination of like right now, I would think that I would remember everything. I would have like some moments of disorientation, and then having to get used to a new body. But in my head, it would be like getting used to a new car, when I'm used to my old car,
Mhm.
type of a thing. But no, there's nothing that says that
Yeah.
you would be you when
Yeah.
you get put into something, and then to have other people telling you who you are, and you don't necessarily feel that way.
And he, like, if his thing is fixing things that are broken, how do you fix yourself when you're broken? It sucks. Like he had to put himself out in that situation and then relearn who these people were, but in a situation where like these people already have an innate knowing that he's not who they remember him to be, which is a whole nother level of like, okay, they're suspicious of me. What do they know?
Wow. There was so much going on in that second
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I want to throw one thing that piggybacks with what you guys are talking about, because there's, like how much the new sleeve, how much do you remember? Do you not remember? And the potential to kind of manifest another version. But then there's also how much of you has been awakened? How much of you that's been there the whole time but was suppressed in the previous sleeve,
Yep.
perhaps then gets reassembled and therefore awakened?
Yeah.
Like, so is it that this is a brand new version of Patch, or is this a truer version of Patch?
Yeah, it's
Was
like the
hiding
idea that
underneath the
it
previous
could have
sleeve?
gone any path, but it went right instead of left this time.
Damn, I want to play this game again. Like this, but like this.
Yeah,
Damn.
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah, our chat room's loving it too. Penguiny 11, so much talent and hard work.
Yeah.
So many emojis going on. Rat with wings, so many layers, so yum. Like, yeah, that's what we're feeling right now. Oh man. And that's not even the half of it, of what happened in the second part of this campaign. I mean, I'm gonna have to talk about like, the big, it's an elephant in the room, but it's not totally an elephant. It's an elephant and two other different animals merge into one, into like a giant kaiju. Because in the second part, in the second part in this three-parter journey, there is a kaiju battle. Like, we literally have kaiju creation that happens with Osaka Eternal. And each of our characters had to put together, like on the spot, about this kaiju, because we were going off to, I don't remember the term for it. In my head it was like, the kaiju pit, or like battle of the kaijus, type of a deal. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and like play this clip of a section of the kaiju battle. It's a short clip, and we'll see you after it and talk about things kaiju and continue with some more Altered Carbon talk.
Fun.
So you get this hit off. Go ahead and tell me how it looks. What is the damage that's done?
So as it's like slithering forward, it's like rearing up, and if the thing looks up, how like some snakes and reptilians like dislocate their jaw
Right.
forward and then clamping down on it, partially to keep the mouth closed, but then also because it's the head, so it'll be a little tender around there as well, and then just like almost like whipping it around back and forth like some animals do when they're trying to pull.
Yeah, and I will tell you, for that many degrees of success, your jaws clench down on this thing, and you swear you felt like the mechanism that was connecting the stack to it, and it sort of shorts out, and the whole body just goes limp in your jaw. Coming up next, we've got Satya.
Okay, well, it seems like that one was taken care of.
Yeah.
So what
Behind
else do I see now that that one's out of the way?
behind that, this whole mess that's happening, you can make out what seems to be a great white shark body, that has the legs, tail, and claws of a scorpion that's sort of coming forward, but it has those glossy shark eyes. And you can see that its lower jaw has sort of unhinged, and there are three aspects to it, and it's all sort of gnawing at once. And it's coming straight at you, Satya.
Okay. Um, all right then. For this, we'll see, and it's coming straight. It's coming straight for us.
Mm-hmm.
Satya is going to stand her ground.
Ha
And is going to put out the pincers for the pistol shark. I'm sorry, pistol shrimp,
Uh-huh.
and is going to do that huge decimal hit while the shark has his mouth open because it shouldn't have done that, but it
Right.
did. So
Yeah.
it's definitely like towards that. Um, if need be, because I'm looking at my stats here for like
Yeah.
brawl and melee combat, if need be, Satya can propel herself towards it with her tentacles so that she can do brawl and melee combat as opposed to something more ranged.
Sure. Why don't we do that then? If you're willing
Okay.
to move closer, we can make it a melee combat roll. I'm gonna make your target number of 8 because you're using this kaiju body, and you also get a bonus d8. I'm actually gonna roll against this though. What'd you get?
All right, takes me a second to put in.
Oh yeah.
No luck die. All right. Yeah, I got a 2 out of 8.
Nice. Yes. So that
So
is the 5 degrees of success.
can I
Uh,
explode the shark from the inside?
yeah. So this horrible monstrosity comes up and it opens up its unhinged jaw. And you can actually see as these pinchers open up that they're also shark jaws that are just smaller. And so this whole thing is coming at you. And your kaiju sort of scrambles back and takes aim with these claws. And you let loose this blast that just rips forward and splits this kaiju right in half. It sort of like is a shockwave that just the limp parts fall, and blue sort of synthetic blood pools around.
And in Kraken, she says, Satya!
And the tentacles flail.
Satya! Kaiju battle. I love a lot of the comments that the chat was doing. Not always weak. Delicious layers of backstory and cream with little bursts of fruity delight. And then Penguin 11, the kaijus are the fruity delight. Yeah. And then Phoenix Goth, pistol shrimp was one of my initial animal choices, and I love that Markia just went there. Like, of course I did. Of course I did. I mean, I hope with my chaos demon I haven't driven Gabe away, but of course I went there. And anyone who's seen Power, you'll see why I went there. Power on Netflix. I just love superhero movies like in general. So yeah, so much. Luis. So Gabe had a very particular options for his kaiju. And Gabe, I know that you were saying like a number of things with your kaiju, if you just would like to, yeah, with that.
Yes.
And then Luis, if you could maybe give us a little canon of why
Cool.
Patch would choose that. Just like,
Okay.
yeah, let's
Yeah,
try it
just
that way.
let's see. Okay, so the three that I picked were the um Komodo dragon, because I like just biologically a powerful creature, the pangolin because of the armored body, and then the bat because there's a lot of aspects to a bat that could be interesting, but I liked the wings. But I feel like Louise might, if you can give me a background of why that might have been in Patch's subconscious, because for Gabe it was immediate, but I don't have a full reason as to why Patch might have had it.
So like the combination of those things.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing I think about the setup here is that I also don't have to have the answers to that, because Patch has been re-sleeved so much, and in the kind of the fragments, I think if it's in the heat of the moment, like there's two ways, like the if it's something that was chosen in the heat of the moment, or if it was something that was kind of cultivated over a long period of time, both of those can still have like can have a pull that even the person themselves can't explain. Because, well, here's what's canon is that Patch, one of the reasons I think, and I can sort of say this for Patch, is one of the reasons I think he's becomes so the Patch that I had was so obsessed with the minutia of things, the thing that's like right in front of him, is because it also stopped him from seeing all of the broken pieces that were the bigger picture. And I can see how in the bigger picture there's like something about a bat and something about a Komodo dragon, something about like armor protection, like bubble, I don't know, something, the shell, that he or different versions of himself may have had something significant with, but they remain fragments that are barely within his reach. And that I think my Patch doesn't have the answers to that, just has the fragments of it. And the big thing that he definitely has, maybe the wings is the big thing that I think is the bat wings. So I think everybody knows that like Patch had these like the wings. My Patch, which was never described specifically in my session, his wings were like feathered angel wings, but he hated the wings and would have, if he could have, ripped them off of himself. So
very Lucifer there.
Right, yeah. And so it's an interesting thing that there's bat wings and Gabe's that manifest, because I think that it could be one that is directly linked to the complete opposite. Like it's kind of speaks to my Patch's drive, but then the manifestation of it is to recreate it in this new form.
And I feel like he had accepted when he saw the bat wings. So maybe there's a hint of like something stayed with him, that it's like, I'm not the hero really, but if I don't have these angelic wings, if I have these wings that look more animal-like, more monstrous, maybe this is okay.
Right. And it's sort of perfection too, like the idea of having to strive for something that's so impossible, with these kind of like this idea of something angelic, but then to be able to like flip it and be like, here's why I think it's really compelling, is because it's the same thing, they're just wings, but what's changed is how you look at them.
Yes.
And that can make the thing itself change.
I like that a lot, because that goes into the whole resleeving in general. It's like, what is it that was left behind when Patch was resleeved, for him to be able to expose his wings in any form, to the world, to be able to present them at all, kind of a thing. So it's like, what was left behind and what was born anew within that sleeve, within their interactions, within all of that. I mean, I love that we're doing this.
So, okay. Well, Louise,
yes.
How much did you know about the Sato like family?
Because I guess it wasn't really established. I think it's interesting, maybe, if I think my Patch, I can tell you what Patch thinks he knew. Whether it's true or not. I'm not sure if Patch knew of being resleeved again and again and again. I don't think my Patch knew that.
Okay.
I don't think so. And if he did know at some point, then he definitely like repressed that, took that
Yeah.
fragment off and put it all away in the corner. Um, uh, I Patch felt a deep, like almost debt, like indentured servitude kind of responsibility to the family name, and it was daunting. And but knew that he was in charge of the Kabuki theater, and found that and knew that there was something very special and important in that charge, but was burdened by this familial pressure that I felt like he was trying to break free from, run away from, disappear from.
So something that I found out uh, later on in the game is that we were the last Sato to exist, and I
I didn't know
think,
that.
yeah,
I mean, I learned that in also.
I think that made the wing thing almost fit, because it's like, it's not even just that it's a symbol of the family; it's like a symbol of being the last one.
The pressure.
Yeah, yeah,
And whether my Patch knew that or not, the
hmm
burden of it was still manifesting in
yeah.
some way, shape, or form.
It might have been that the little bit of fragmentation when coming back, it was like that the knowledge that might have been suppressed came to the surface this time, and it's like, oh, I guess I do have to consider that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's about as specific as I think I can get to that, because I don't feel like it would. I feel like it would be an injustice to the character of Patch to then make so many, like however many hundreds of patches that have
Mhm.
existed. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I mean, to for this one that I got to inhabit to be the one that makes it all concrete seems
Do it.
seems the wrongest of it. I mean that's about as. I mean I don't know. I almost want to see other people play Patch. Like if there's anybody that is doing an Altered Carbon game of their own, I would love to see their Patch. Like
Ah.
that'd be interesting.
You know what? You and our chat are on similar wavelengths then with it, because I've heard a number of things where it's like, oh, we should have a patch con, where it's like different. What are you taking a patch? It's something that's makes me think of like pre-gen characters, like with that where it's like, for instance, like Outbreak Undead. Melee and I both had the same pre-gen character. We did like Tom the DJ or something like that. I
Yeah.
forget his name right off the top of my head, but we retooled him for our own purposes. We're completely different characters. So I love how with this, where it's starting off in a place and then going somewhere completely different, but also knowing that you have like these creative, wonderful individuals that are taking care of it and just doing it in their own way, which is just, that's life. And I love that. Um, Oh, okay. So for people that are watching with us now, I want you to start thinking of scenarios that you might enjoy seeing a Patch versus Sato type of a thing. This doesn't just have to be battle, although battle would also be awesome. What would they do? Just think of like different scenarios that you might want the two of them to interact. And yes, because in the second half of the show, we will be having some PvP going on. So it's this the title of this show is called Resleeved Character Battle for a reason. So really love really love for the chat to go ahead and jump in there with some scenarios or some things that you would want. And also please like also do your questions like deep dive. Absolutely, this panel is willing to go there with it. I mean, and I love that. So moving on to our, and it's still going to stay heavy, right the second, because moving on to our third clip that we have, there's a lot of there's just a lot uncovered. There's a lot uncovered with Passion and also Sato, and then also with this individual Fox, which has brought together parts of the group together. And in case in point, Sable. Sable was brought into this by the individual Fox, someone that she trusted, implicitly. And with that, there is a very big truth that is found on who exactly Fox is. And we find this out in the third part, amongst a whole bunch of things that happened in the third part, including kaiju battle with a guardian, like big, this big samurai like warrior that comes out, and our kaijus have to take him on. But yeah, let's go ahead and roll this clip where Patch finds out the truth about this individual, Fox.
My makeup was amazing.
It was so good. It was so good. You were like full kaiju going with it. Love it.
Patch, you're the last one that's still in the car.
I'm gonna walk up to Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the original Anthony Sato? And before you answer, please understand, what you say isn't going to change what I do, but I just feel like I have a right to know.
Is that a command?
Yes, tell me.
And he reaches out his hand and touches you on the sleeve's face. And you fall unconscious. You wake to a series of images that start flashing before you. These images feel like familiar places and people just at the tip of your tongue and forgotten. These holes left in your memory from sleeving and re-sleeving. But no, wait, you were needle cast, and there was a backup. Each time you were re-sleeved, it was understood from the agreement of your family that you would automatically be spun up and put into another sleeve. You took on the burden of the Sato line. You cared for the Kabuki theater, but eventually it became too much. You were the last of your line. The theater fell into disrepair. The Yakuza were taking it over. You just wanted to end it. And so you took care of it yourself. But at that time, in Japan's history, suicide was illegal. With the invention of sleeves, there had to be something done. And so the Suicide Prevention Act came into effect and punished those that took their own lives. Anthony Sato, when you took your own life, not only were you rescued by the AI Yukio, your copy was also activated. This copy didn't have a sleeve to go into, since you were inhabiting the sleeve it was supposed to go into. The years went by, and this personality became fragmented, eventually manifesting as an AI named Fox, who felt the need to fix others, somehow repairing AI, some repairing the theater, putting people back together. But you didn't know this was happening. In fact, forgetting was a blessing. And you programmed Yukio to make you forget. But she went too far. It's flooding back to you now. You would maintain her, you would see her every night, and she would take a piece of your history away as programmed. And you fell further in love with this person who was assimilating parts of your personality. Now, you feel the dark turn of this AI, wanting a body, needing a body. I was supposed to have a body. And where are they keeping the best bodies now? In that castle. With your help, I could have a very powerful body.
The ways that I was describing this was intense, beautiful, messed. Messed is one. Gabe, can you let us know? Let us know what's going on. Let us know.
There was it's like it sucks because in that moment it's like he had to go through the 7 stages of grief in like 10 minutes. And it's like overwhelming and terrifying because it's like, well, one, wow, Satya is right. I am not the person that she knew. Um, and I never will be. I am not the person any of them knew. And I don't even necessarily know who I am. The person that I am now is not the person that they knew before. And then who is this person? Who is this person who I've been encountering, who has been interacting with Sable so much and has all these connections and already knew all of this and then never told me? Can I even trust myself? And if I'm not even Patch, then it's not the right name to go by, which is why I ended up choosing Sato. Um, because it's not even like the name Anthony is good, because then it's almost like a unique diversifier for who he is. He just felt like a member of the Sato family. He felt like he was almost a carbon copy that didn't even get the full data of the copy. So it's just an existence that is like a newborn babe that can function on their own. And he's like, but you know what? I'm here, and the things that I know are I care about Yukio. And so that has to be a driving factor. But as we went further and further in onto Yukio and Fox, um, it became worse and worse for Sato. Um, and so, Marquia, do you want to wait to go into what the ending was, or do you want me to?
No, bring it now.
Because
We
I
need
don't
this.
know.
Yes.
We need this, Gabe, please.
So as we went further and further in, we broke into the place after having that conversation with Fox, and we saw Fox and Yukio standing at a console. And then it was at that moment that both Sato and Gabe realized maybe my drive to be with Yukio is just a remnant of Fox, and Yukio is another person that doesn't actually care about what Sato wants, is working and using Sato because Sato has a physical presence. And not long after that, we see so Satya, as the beautiful chaos that she is, threw an EMP and disabled them for a bit. And at first, Sato was angry and confused because it's like, that's the person I care about. And then the realization started to settle in. Nothing Fox had done was friendly. Nothing Yukio had done when he had talked to her was good, was caring, was compassionate. All of this compassion that he had for Yukio, was it another programmed thing that was put into his head that he didn't choose? And then not long after that, we saw an enormous, monstrous form start rising up from the inside of the tower. And we learned very quickly that Fox was inside of it. And Fox was inside of it and looking at it. But moments before, Satya had pulled that AI virus outside of Sable and put it inside of the visor that they shared, that Sato had just told her to keep because it wasn't his, because he was not Patch. It's Patch's visor.
That was mine.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember.
And they were able to injure that gigantic kaiju enough that it dropped and faded into Sable, who dropped again. They went over to talk to Sable and see what was happening, knowing that Fox was essentially infecting her. And they were able to get Fox. Well, Sato was able to get Fox into the visor. But knowing that if Fox is out and running around, nobody is safe. There's always danger. Everything is just going to crash down and fall apart. So he put the visor on and put Fox inside of himself. And knowing that Sable had that connection to Fox and that she cared, but knowing that Fox had betrayed her, Sato looked at Sable. and asked her for a favor. He said, last time that I went, uh, it wasn't so much my choice, but this one is. Because he knew that as he was letting it go into his head, Fox was going to keep infecting him. Fox was going to upload himself somewhere else. Fox was going to be a problem. And Fox took any notion that Sato knew who he was. But Sato knew there was at least one thing he could do and keep Fox from infecting anybody else. And he turned his head and moved so his sleeve was visible. And not long after, we heard a shot ring out. And it was because Sato wanted his stack to be destroyed along with Fox inside of it, so it couldn't infect him by anybody else.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Wow.
Luis, your face journey is
and it's great because you said you wanted something that had tragic notes at first, and it wasn't even something I had planned for Sato in any way. But as soon as I found out that he wasn't Patch and he wasn't Fox, but both of those were remnants of who he was, and to no fault of Satya, but Satya and the others noting that you're not Patch, you're not the person we know. And it was the realization, they're right. Because we had even said earlier that we didn't really have any allies in this sense. His driving factor, Yukio, had shown no compassion, but was completely connected to Fox. Fox, the person who had been advising Sable and very rarely talking to him, was another piece of himself. And he was already the last Sato. And if Fox stayed around, he didn't feel like that was going to be true. So officially, the Sato line ended that day, digitally and physically. Damn. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. All right, y'all. Like I said with the chat room, the first part of the show was our recap about this resleeving journey going from Patch to Sato. And for the second part of this, we will be having Patch versus Sato, or let's say Patch and Sato in scenarios. So during the 10-minute break that we're about to have, please do pop up some like scenarios that you would love to see Patch and Sato in. We're going to take both characters moments before death, Sato without Fox infection, like Sato as they remember themselves, Patch as they remember themselves, pre-decapitation, and put them in scenarios. Obviously, I have some, and then like a real fun one that I'm very much looking forward to doing. So yeah, they don't know what it is. um Alex, our community guy, knows what it is. Our tech wizard knows what it is, JB. So yeah, in those 10 minutes, go ahead and like reflect, pop us some scenarios and some questions. And just like if you want to have a baddie that just shows up or another character show up, let us know. So yeah. Oh my gosh, it has been such a pleasure, not only this conversation with the both of you, but being in the Altered Carbon journey.
Oh,
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I'm so looking forward to playing with both of you in the future. Like, such a treat. Yeah, for everybody else out there, this is Luis Carrazzo, who played Patch, and also Gabe Hicks, who played Sato. I'm Rakia McCarty, your host for Hunter's Gathering, and we hope to see you after the 10 minutes are up, and we'll see you then.